Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I did the story not so long ago about the man and the woman who were in a car, and the man managed to give the woman a gift, shall we say, for which she sued him, and at one point in time had actually gotten some kind of award in the millions of dollars against his insurance company, his auto insurance company. And of course, his auto insurance company later came back and said, we'd like to defend this case because that's not something we cover you for with our auto policy. And a lot of people, I think, agreed with that outcome because the court finally did say, yes, it's not what you're covering with auto insurance. And so people started asking hypotheticals. So for instance, if that had happened in a bedroom in a home, could she have sued his homeowner's insurance? And most people say, of course not. That'd be silly. So right after that happened, within 24 hours, this story hit the news. It's in Canada, but I believe the same kind of thing could happen here in America. But a man who was working on his trailer, a recreational trailer, was up on the roof of it, and he fell off of it and got injured quite severely. And so he filed a claim with the company that insured his trailer. And they denied the claim. They said, well, we insure the trailer, but we don't insure you falling off of it. And the question is, what does that policy cover? Because that is something that's closer, just what I told you, to what the policy does cover. And so I can tell you that I've seen cases in Michigan and elsewhere where somebody, for instance, is stepping out of a car and they get hurt. The question is, does that involve, the use of a car in a way that they would anticipate? And some states would say yes, some states would say no. This does vary wildly from state to state. So the fact that this is in Canada, of course, this isn't a state, but I wouldn't be surprised if you got the exact same result here in America, depending on what state you're in. But Ontario man denied car insurance coverage after a 3.5-meter fall, takes company to court and wins. So he fell 10 feet. CTVnews.ca reports this. The Ontario man who suffered very severe injuries in his 10-foot fall from the top of his fifth-wheel trailer was denied insurance coverage for years, and then he took the company to court and he won. The man will now be entitled to benefits that he's been denied since he fell after a judge ordered his insurer to pay up. His injuries are extensive and include a fractured skull, brain injury, multiple broken bones, and hearing and vision loss. His wife said, I still get emotional every time I talk about it. We're survivors and this has changed our lives. Maybe this will turn it around. Now, the man was standing on top of his trailer outside of Sudbury in 2019. He was cleaning it in preparation for a trip to Prince Edward Island when he heard someone call him to come inside. He said, I'll be there in a minute, and that's all I remember. The fall brought his wife outside of the family's home, and she was, of course, terrified with what she saw. She says, I heard a crash in the driveway, went outside, and I found my husband on the cement. There was no life left. My son had to revive him. So he then woke up in the hospital 17 days later. 17 days later, he wakes up. Last he remembers, he's up on top of his trailer. Now he's in the hospital. He tried to walk. Doctors found he had broken bones in his ankle that had to be set along with other injuries. He said, I couldn't walk. My legs are completely dead. He left the hospital 78 days later. He spent 78 days in the hospital. He could no longer walk. He needed treatments to pay for some of it. The family had to turn to the trailer's insurance policy and hope that they would cover some of this. But the company denied coverage because they said he was not using the trailer. And they said that therefore he's not covered. So the insurance company would say that we'll cover you if you get injured while you're using the trailer. But standing on top of it and cleaning it is not using it. And then the question then becomes, what is meant by the concept of using your trailer? In hearings at the License Appeal Tribunal, adjudicators sided with the insurance company twice. But the man's lawyers told CTV News the policy is not that limited and should be enforced on many uses of the trailer, including driving and cleaning. And it would be uses to which the average person does, in fact, put their trailer to. They argued the trailer had to be involved in causing the accident, which was wrong on many levels. The attorney and another attorney took the case to divisional court where a 3-judge panel sided with the client, saying slipping and falling off a trailer that is 12 feet tall must be seen as a normal incident of the risk created by such use and is a reasonable and foreseeable thing. Hopefully, he'll be able to get the benefits he's been denied for years now, says the interview. And a representative from the insurance company did not respond. Now, they say 12 feet. Elsewhere, it says 3.5 meters. And I'll admit, I generally just hear meters and multiply by 3 for feet, but I guess that's off by a tiny little bit. So I know some metric fans in the audience have probably already typed angrily about the conversion of 3.5 meters to feet. But the a lawyer does reference 12 feet. And so you have to go back, and I mentioned this before, you read the policy. The policy is a contract. Go back and read the policy about what it covers. Someplace in there is going to be a definitional section as to what they cover. And it's going to be just 1 or 2 sentences. And it'll say something to the effect of, we will cover any injuries that occur while you are using the trailer. And if that's what it says, then the question simply becomes, are you using the trailer when you're on top of it cleaning it? Some people would say, Steve, no, you're cleaning the trailer. You're not using the trailer. Well, think about it this way. When you consider all the things you do when you use a trailer, what would that list include? And cleaning it might be one of them. So they apparently had the contract in front of them. I do not. And the panel of 3 judges read the description of what's covered and said, yeah, that sounds covered to us. And I apologize for the 1 or 2 people in the audience who've heard this story before, but I'm going to give you an example of the types of things that you can find in these policies if you read them. And a client of mine called me up one day and said, Steve, I'm being sued. Can you help me? And I said, okay, well, it's a friend of mine. I don't generally do defense work, but yeah, bring the lawsuit in. Let me see it. And he described the situation to me. And he had a vehicle, and attached to his vehicle was a trailer, and he put lawn equipment on the trailer, and he went around and he did yard work for people, and he would drive to a location with the trailer attached to his car. And so one day, he's driving down a street with his car and his trailer, and as he passes very slowly a garbage truck, there's apparently a guy on the garbage truck in the back standing on one of the little platforms. He's getting ready to jump off to dump some garbage. He sees my friend's car go by the corner of his eye, and he steps back, and he hits the trailer. Because he didn't look this way to see the car had a trailer. He just sees the car go by, and he figures he can step back, and he steps back, and he gets hit by my client's trailer. So I said, well, you have car insurance, right? And he goes, yeah. I said, just turn this over to your insurer. They'll defend you. He said, really? I said, yeah. I go, a lot of people don't know. Insurance companies, number 1 job is to defend you. That is to actually mount a defense. Job number 2 is to pay the claim if any one results or settle the case. He goes, okay. So he submits it to them, and he calls me back about a week later and goes, Steve, they've denied coverage. They said this is not something for which my insurance policy will cover me. And I assumed they were going to say, oh, you're using your vehicle for a commercial purpose, and we don't cover commercial things. And I go, well, bring the denial letter and let me take a look at it. He brings it in, and the letter says, we are not covering you because the injury is caused by your trailer and not your car. And the policy covers your car. I said, oh, do you have your policy with you? And I asked him to bring it. So he brought it. I open it up and it goes, we cover injuries that result to you or others through the use of your vehicle, blah, 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 blah. And it goes, your vehicle is defined as follows. Your car and any trailer attached thereto. Their own definition said the trailer was part of the car. And they denied coverage saying that, oh, the trailer caused the harm, not the car. They drafted the contract. So I took his denial letter. I typed up a nice little response. I Xeroxed the section that describes this. And I mailed it in for him. And I said, you're going to be hearing from them shortly. Let me know what they say when they call. He called me back about a week later. He goes, Steve, they've changed their mind. They're going to cover me now. That was a no-brainer. That was just literally, a 3-year-old could have figured that out. Well, a 3-year-old who could read. But you go, why did they deny the claim? Well, they denied it at first because they were just hoping they'd get a claim off their plate. And also, it might be that the adjuster doesn't read the policy to double check these things. And so the irony I'm pointing out here is that I tell people your insurance policy is a contract. You need to read it. Sometimes they don't read it. So when they deny your claim and it seems like they ought to cover it, go pull the policy and read it and see what it says. You might be surprised. But then you might also wind up in a gray area where it says we'll cover you if you're injured or somebody's injured through the use of your thing, your trailer, your RV, whatever it might be. And is cleaning it the use of it? And that's what a court of appeals has apparently said in Canada. So a lot of people sent this to me. Thank you very much to everybody. ctvnews.ca ran the story. An Ontario man who was denied insurance coverage after a 3.5 meter fall took the company to court and won, and now they've got to take care of him. So there you go. That's an interesting story, like I said, out of Canada. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Contentment is being satisfied with things as they are, not as you would like them to be.